Hello dear students, this is Vishal sir from Ikra High School. Today we would be concluding the part 2 of chapter 11 from standard 10 NCERT syllabus. Today's topic would be refraction of light through a prism. You have learned how light gets refracted through a rectangular glass slab. For parallel refracting surface, as in a glass slab, the emergent ray is parallel to the incident ray. However, it is slightly displaced laterally. How would light get refracted through a transparent prism? Now, before we start understanding this, you have to study what is a prism. A prism is a triangular glass slab which has two triangular bases and three rectangular lateral surfaces. And these surfaces are inclined to each other. The angle between its two lateral faces is called the angle of prism. So, we are going to study about prism and the refraction of light through prism. Let's read the activity 11.1. Just like you have done in the previous chapter, the activity of the refraction of light through a rectangular glass slab, we are going to conduct the same but with prism. Fix a sheet of white paper on a drawing board using drawing pins. Place glass prism on it in such a way that it rests on its triangular base. Trace the outline of the prism using a pencil. Draw a straight line PE inclined to one of the refracting surfaces, say AB, of the prism. Fix two pins, say at point P and Q, on the line PE as shown in figure 11.4. Look for the images of the pins fixed at P and Q through the other face AC. Fix two more pins at points R and S such that the pins at R and S and the images of the pins at P and Q lie on the same straight line. Remove the pins and the glass prism. The line PE meets the boundary of the prism at point E. Similarly, join and produce the point R and S. Let these lines meet the boundary of the prism at E and F respectively. Join E and F. Draw perpendiculars to the refracting surface AB and AC of the prism at point E and F respectively. Mark the angle of incidence, the angle of refraction, and the angle of emergence as shown in figure 11.4. So here students, as you can see on your screen, you have to construct a diagram something like this. Here PE is the incident ray. It passes through the prism and it's refracted towards the normal. N dash is the normal. The angle formed with the incident ray and the normal is the angle of incidence. And the angle formed with the refracted ray is EF, and the normal N dash is the angle of refraction. When the light passes from air, a rarer medium, to the prism, a denser medium, it will surely bend because there are two different transparent medias through which the light is traveling. Point E is the surface which separates both the medias. So here you will get a bending effect of the light. But while it emerges out from the prism, it again bends. But this time it bends away from the normal. On the other hand side, M dash is the normal and the emergent ray is Fs. The angle of emergence would be between the normal and the emergent ray. Both the lines, that is the incident ray and the emergent ray, meet at a point called G. Here PE is the incident ray, EF is the refracted ray, and Fs is the emergent ray. You may note that the ray of light is entering from air to glass at the first surface AB. The light rays on refraction has bent towards the normal. At the second surface AC, the light ray has entered from the glass to air. Hence, it has bent away from the normal. Compare the angle of incidence and the angle of refraction at each refracting surface of the prism. Is this similar to the kind of bending that occurs in the glass slab? The peculiar shape of the prism makes the emergent ray bend at an angle to the direction of the incident ray. This angle is called angle of deviation. In this case, angle D is the angle of deviation. Mark the angle of deviation in the above activity and measure it. Dispersion of white light by a glass prism. Now before we understand this topic, let us think about light. The light that you see in the day is known as white light, the direct light that we obtain from sun. It is called white light because all the colors are seen in its natural atmosphere. Yellow seems yellow, the black seems black, the green seems green. So all the colors emerge out as their own colors. They do not show a different color, just like in artificial light. So that is why sunlight is called white light. But that light is made up of 7 different band of colors. When these 7 different band of colors combine together, they form white light. In this section, we are going to study about that only. Let's read the part and understand it properly. You must have seen and appreciated the spectacular colors in a rainbow. How could the white light of the sun give us various colors of the rainbow? Before we take up this question, we shall first go back to the refraction of light through a prism. The inclined refracting surface of a glass prism show exciting phenomenon. Let us find it out through an activity. Activity 11.2. Take a thick sheet of cardboard and make a small hole or narrow slit in its middle. Allow sunlight to fall on the narrow slit that gives a narrow beam of white light. Now take a glass prism and allow the light from the slit to fall on one of the faces as shown in figure 11.5. Turn the prism slowly until the light that comes out of it appears on a nearby screen. What do you observe? You will find a beautiful band of colors. Why does this happen? The prism has probably split the incident white light into a band of colors. As you can see in the diagram, when the white light passes through a triangular prism, it splits into band of 7 colors. Note the color that appear at the 2 ends of the color band. What is the sequence of the color that you see on the screen? The various colors are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. The acronym VIBGYOR will help you to remember the sequence of color. The band of colored component of the light beam is called its spectrum. You might not be able to see all the colors separately, yet something makes each color distinct from the other. The splitting of light into its component color is called dispersion. So this phenomenon, that is the splitting of white light into its 7 different color, is called dispersion. Earlier we studied 2 more phenomenon: the reflection, that is returning of the light, refraction, that was the bending of the light, and this is the third phenomenon, dispersion, that is the splitting of light into its band of colors. You have seen that white light is dispersed into 7 color component by a prism. Why do we get these colors? Different color of light bend through different angle with respect to the incident ray as they pass through a prism. So it is to be noted that the white light is formed of 7 colors and those 7 colors have their own velocity. When they pass from 2 different medias, they actually decrease their velocities. So while they decrease their velocity, each band of color has its own velocity. Some may have a maximum velocity, some may have the minimum velocity. The band with the minimum velocity has the most deviation, while the band with maximum velocity has the least deviation. The red light bends the least, while the violet the most. Thus, the rays of each color emerge along the different path and thus become distinct. It is the band of distinct color that we see in a spectrum. Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of sunlight. So in the whole chapter, you can find only the name of this scientist mentioned. So he was the first one to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of sunlight, and he again tried to combine those 7 colors and form the white light. He tried to split the color of the spectrum of the white light further by using another similar prism. However, he could not get any more color. Then he placed a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism, as shown in figure 11.6. This allowed all the colors of the spectrum to pass through the second prism. He found a beam of white light emerging from the other side of the second prism. This observation gave Newton the idea that sunlight is made up of 7 colors. Any light that gives a spectrum similar to that of sunlight is often referred to as white light. A rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after the rain shower. It is caused by dispersion of sunlight by tiny water droplets present in the atmosphere. A rainbow is always formed in the direction opposite to that of the sun. The water droplet act like a small prism. So here, during rainy season, you can see rainbows just like the photograph given over here. The rainbows are formed due to the dispersion of white light. Here in figure 11.8, they are showing that a drop of a rain disperses the white light into 7 color. But here you can also see two different phenomenon. The first thing, the sunlight entering the raindrop bends a little, so that is the refraction. On the other end, it strikes at the other end of the water drop and it returns back, that is reflection. While reflecting back, it also enters the atmosphere again, and that splits the white light into 7 band of colors, which forms the image like this, a rainbow. So rainbow formation is due to the three phenomenon of light. A rainbow is always formed in the direction opposite to that of the sun. And that means the rainbow can be only seen in two directions naturally, that is east and west. If it is morning, it may be probably that you may able to see rainbow in the west, but during evening, possibility that the rainbow is formed in the east. Atmospheric refraction. Now the same refraction happens in our atmosphere. The light coming to us has to pass through many layers of the atmosphere, which creates the different densities and bends the light in different directions. This creates an image of flickering. Most of the objects do not flicker. Just for an example, think about sun. It doesn't feel that it flickers because it is very close to the earth and it is also very larger than the earth. So it seems just like a big ball of gas near to us and it does not feel just like flicker. But if you see a point-like object that illuminates, example star, you may see it as twinkling. The twinkling effect is due to the atmospheric refraction. The light from the star coming to us makes us an illusion that the star is twinkling. The star is actually just like our sun, but though because it is very far, it seems a point-like subject and that seems like it is changing its direction, making an illusion of twinkling. Let's read the topic. You might have observed the apparent random wavering or flickering of objects seen through a turbulent stream of hot air rising above fire or a radiator. Just above the fire becomes hotter, then the air further up, the hotter air is lighter than the cooler air above it and has a refractive index slightly less than that of the cooler air. Since the physical condition of the refracting medium, air, are not stationary, the apparent position of the object as seen through the hot air fluctuates. This wavering is thus an effect of atmospheric refraction, that is refraction of light by Earth's atmosphere. On a small scale in our local environment, the twinkling of star is a similar phenomenon on a much larger scale. Let us see how we can explain it. Twinkling of star. The twinkling of a star is due to atmospheric refraction of starlight. The starlight on entering the Earth's atmosphere undergoes refraction continuously before it reaches the Earth. The atmospheric refraction occurs in a medium of gradually changing refractive index. Now, what makes that change or what makes that atmospheric refraction is the density of atmosphere. Our atmosphere is made up of many layers of gases and some are more denser than the other, and that creates an atmospheric refraction. Since the atmosphere bends starlight towards the normal, the apparent position of the star is slightly different from its actual position. The star appears slightly higher than its actual position when viewed near the horizon. Further, this apparent position of the star is not stationary but keeps on changing slightly. Since the physical condition of the Earth atmosphere are not stationary, as was in the case of the previous paragraph, the stars are very distinct. They approximate points at source of light. As the path of rays of light coming from the star goes on varying slightly, apparent position of the star fluctuates and the amount of starlight entering the eye flickers. The star sometime appear brighter and at some other time fainter, which is the twinkling effect. Why don't the planet twinkle? The planets are much closer to the Earth and are thus seen as extended sources. If we consider a planet as a collection of large number of point-sized sources of light, the total variation in the amount of light entering our eye from all the individual point-sized source will average out to zero, thereby nullifying the twinkling effect. So, dear students, the stars twinkle due to its distance and the atmospheric refraction. Now, because of this, we have one more phenomenon, that is early sunrise and delayed sunset. Early sunrise means the sun actually rises at one time. That means it comes upon the horizon at some time, but we are able to see that sunrise before it reaches that point on the horizon, before 2 minutes early, and that is also one of more natural phenomenon occurring in our environment. The same happens during the sunset. We have to calculate the sunrise and the sunset with respect to the horizon. Horizon is the point where you see the sky and the earth meeting each other. That is the horizon. But in the morning, the sun actually is seen 2 minutes early than its actual sunrise. It is still below the horizon, but you are able to see that sun, and that is due to the atmospheric refraction. In the same manner, it has already set, but you will be still able to see till 2 minutes the sunset. So that is called the delayed sunset. The sun is visible to us about 2 minutes before the actual sunrise and about 2 minutes after the actual sunset because of atmospheric refraction. By actual sunrise, we mean the actual crossing of the horizon by the sun. Figure 11.10 shows the actual and apparent position of the sun with respect to the horizon. The time difference between actual sunset and the apparent sunset is about 2 minutes. The apparent flattening of the sun disk at sunrise and sunset is also due to the same phenomenon. The next phenomenon of light that we are going to study is scattering of light. Now, as you have seen that sunlight has the total rays combined together, but that rays can be scattered if you create an environment that makes the difference between the whole sunlight and the beam of light. So, dear students, let's study the next phenomenon, scattering of light. The interplay of light with object around us gives rise to several spectacular phenomena in nature. The blue color of the sky, the color of the water in deep sea, the reddening of sun at the sunrise and sunset are some of the wonderful phenomena we are familiar with. In the previous class, you have learned about scattering of light by colloidal particles. The path of beam of light passing through a true solution is not visible. However, its path becomes visible through a colloidal solution where the size of the particle is relatively larger. So, we are going to study the same thing that we have studied in standard 9. We are going to study about scattering of light, and that scattering of light is only visible due to the atmosphere having amount of dust particles and humidity in it, which creates a colloidal solution in the atmosphere, and that colloidal solution creates a new phenomenon called scattering of light. One of its effect is Tyndall effect. The earth atmosphere is a heterogeneous mixture of minute particles. This particle includes smoke, tiny water droplets, suspended particle of dust, and molecules of air. So this is what you get in your normal atmosphere. That would be having smoke, that is an aerosol, tiny water droplets, suspended particles, particles of dust and dirt in the atmosphere, and molecules of air. When a beam of light strikes such fine particles, the path of the beam becomes visible. So these particles are larger than the true solution but smaller than the suspension solution. The light reaches us after being reflected, diffusing by this particle. The phenomenon of scattering of light by the colloidal particle give rise to Tyndall effect, which you have studied in class 9. This phenomenon is seen when a fine beam of sunlight enters a smoke-filled room through a small hole. Thus, scattering of light makes the particle visible. Tyndall effect can also be observed when the sunlight passes through a canopy of dense forest. Here, tiny water droplets in the mist scatter light. Color of the scattered light depends on the size of the scattering particle. Very fine particles scatter mainly blue light, while particles of larger size scatter light of longer wavelength. So, this is the main thing that you have to understand about scattering of light. The smallest amount of particles scatter blue light, while the larger amount of particles scatter the light with longer wavelength. And which is the light with a longer wavelength? It is red color. The red color has the longer wavelength compared to other color. If the size of scattering particle is large enough, then scattered light may even appear white. Why is the color of the clear sky blue? Molecules of air and other fine particles in the atmosphere have size smaller than the wavelength of visible light. These are more effective in scattering light of shorter wavelength at the blue end than light of longer wavelength at the red end. The red light has a wavelength of about 1.8 times greater than that of blue light. Thus, when the sunlight passes through the atmosphere, fine particle in air scatter blue color, that is the color with shorter wavelength, more strongly than red. The scattered blue light enters our eye, and that is why we are able to see the sky as blue, because the clear sky has least colloidal particles in it, and that is why the blue color is scattered, not any other color. The scattered blue light enter our eyes. If the earth has no atmosphere, there would not have been any scattering. So this would happen when you take a photograph on moon, if you have seen the astronauts or the videos of the astronauts from the moon surface, you might have seen that there isn't anything seen, just a plain white surface, the soil of the moon with black background. The background of the atmosphere is there. But why are we able to see background just like trees and the blue sky and the clouds and everything in our atmosphere? Because our earth has atmosphere which has many colloidal particles that scatter different colors of the sunlight. That does not happen on other planets or other terrestrial objects because they do not have any atmosphere, and because of no atmosphere, the background over there is black. Then the sky would have looked dark. The sky appeared dark to passengers flying at very high altitude as scattering is not prominent at such height. You might have observed that danger signal light are red in color because red is least scattered by fog or smoke. Therefore, it can be seen in the same color at a distance. Color of the sun at sunrise and sunset. Just as we have studied, the particles scatter different colors at different wavelength. Thus, at sunrise and sunset, you can see yellowish or reddish color in the sky because at the horizon there are much more particles which are of larger proportion rather than smaller proportion, and that larger proportion material scatter larger wavelength colors. Have you seen the sky and the sun at the sunset or sunrise? Have you wondered as to why sun and the surrounding sky appear red? Let us do an activity to understand the blue color of the sky and the reddish appearance of the sun at the sunrise or sunset. So here you have to make an apparatus like this, the beaker filled with water, and the incident ray of light passes through that beaker and it passes through a cardboard with a hole. Again it passes through a lens and it forms the color on one screen. So let's read the activity to understand it better. Place a strong source of white light to focus of a converging lens L1. So here are two converging lens, that is the convex lens is here, L1 and L2. These lenses provide a parallel beam of light. Allow the light beam to pass through a transparent glass tank containing clear water. Allow the beam of light to pass through a circular hole and make in a cardboard. Obtain a sharp image of the circular hole on a screen using a second converging lens as shown in figure 11.11. Dissolve about 200 gram of sodium thiosulfate. Now this is just for adding the color to the water in about 2 liter of clean water taken in the tank. Add about 1 to 2 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid to the water, and what do you observe? You will find fine microscopic sulfur particle precipitating in about 2 to 3 minutes. As the sulfur particle begin to form, you can observe blue light from the three sides of the glass tank. This is due to scattering of short wavelength by minute colloidal sulfur particle. Observe the color of the transmitted light from the fourth side of the glass tank facing the circular hole. It is interesting to observe at first the orange red color and that bright crimson red color on the screen. So here they are obtaining the color just like during the sunset or sunrise, and during the whole day you can see in the atmosphere. This activity demonstrates the scattering of light that help you to understand the bluish color of the sky and the reddish appearance of the sun at the sunrise or the sunset. Light from the sun near the horizon passes through thicker layer of air larger distance in the earth atmosphere before reaching our eyes. However, light from the sun overhead would travel relatively shorter distance. At noon, the sun appears white as only a little of the blue and violet colors are scattered. So, at different interval of time, you are able to see different colors in our atmosphere. In the morning, that is in the sunrise, you will be able to see reddish color of the atmosphere, and that is because the light has to travel from a more distant from the horizon, and that scatters the light with the longer wavelength. While when it is at noon, it has to travel the shorter distance, so it scatters least amount of light or least amount of colors. So you are not able to see any color during the noon. Near the horizon, most of the blue light and shorter wavelength are scattered away by the particle. Therefore, the light that reaches our eyes of longer wavelength. This gives rise to reddish appearance of the sun. Thank you.